temporary drafts. We otherwise will be intruding into the authority of the ARC in finally determining what should be done to this particular period for reset. How can we be discussing drafts?
Mr. Chairman.
At least I would just like to ask.
Mr. Chairman.
Miss Di Balanta, are you agreeing to discuss here something that you have not finally decided on?
Mr. Chairman, that's the reason why we have this.
Honorable Dan Fernandez.
That's the reason why, Mr. Chairman, that we have this oversight power to check the abuse of some agencies of our government, especially na maapektuhan yung sinacharge sa ating taong bayan. Pera ng taong bayan ito eh. Sinacharge natin eh. Yung ang sinasabi natin dito ng mga proyekto na hindi pa tapos, i-charge natin sa ating mga consumers. And yun ang pinaglalaban po natin dito. Ay, bakit po natin di naalaw?
Honorable Dan Fernandez still has the floor. Let us give him.
Yeah, but I have the point of order.
We
in
take
any
note of that,
judicial
Honorable.
decision, you cannot question yet if it's not yet final.
But
these are draft. The commissioners, the chairman will change this draft, and they have that authority under the law.
Okay.
So how can we be discussing drafts of possible decisions?
Okay.
I would like to ask, Madam, because we have a point of order.
Mr. Chairman, I still
And
have the floor. Mr. Chairman, I still have the floor.
And the point of
And
order
you have to
is
decide on the point of
precedes
order,
all
Mr.
kinds
Chairman.
of statements.
Decide on the point of order.
Yeah, the point of order is precedes all. The point is,
Mr. Chairman, have we violated
the point
any
of order is
rules
number one.
with the,
Yes,
with the
may we
manifestation
know
of
what is
Congressman Rufus Rodriguez?
what rule has been violated, Honorable Rodriguez? Because
point of order.
you will have to understand that he's asking a question based on some research that he has made.
That's correct.
So let us give him that time.
No,
because you have
because
to
a
understand
point of order interrupts anybody.
I will agree, but you will have to cite also what rule you have you violated, because you will have to understand, Honorable Rodriguez, para klaro tayo, para maging smooth naman itong procedure ho natin, itong hearing na to. Patapusin na ho natin si Dan Fernandez because there's also an accusation here na kahit di kasalanan ng ARC. So dapat, I think he's also going to go there. So I would like to hear, because in his statement, meron siyang statement kanina na meron kayong kasalanan. So I want him now to continue, and I will allow him to continue, the Honorable
With due
Rodriguez.
respect to our chair,
Okay.
our rules provide for precedence of motions. And in the proceedings of motions, the rules of Congress, it says that the point of order has precedence over all other discussions. And that is why I'm saying that I have a point of order that in this proceeding, we cannot be discussing drafts.
Mr. Chairman,
which
what
are
rule was
not yet
violated?
final.
Mr. Chairman, what rule was violated? Development Incorporated submitted to us as well. Number 7, proof of approval by the Philippine Stock Exchange and Philippine Competition Commission of the share purchase agreement or the share swap transaction among Henry C., Robert Cuhuto, and Synergy Grid.
Point of order, Mr. Chair.
This is a administrative matter, Mr. Chairman.
No, but I would like to make a point of order, Mr. Chair, because I am guided by the subject matter of the inquiry. motu proprio inquiry on the performance of the National Grid Corporation of the Philippines. So we are supposed to be assessing the performance of NGCP, and in relation to the very objective of lowering the price of electricity, I do not find the connection why the Honorable Fernandez is asking several documents to be submitted before this committee. I think
Mr. Chairman, because with all these documents that we are asking from the NGCP, we will be able to assess their performance. Because
Mr.
these
Chair,
are all
the
pertinent
one that
documents
will
coming
assess
from
the
NGCP,
performance
and we
of
haven't received
NGCP
any documents yet coming from the NGCP just now. Ngayon lang tayo nakareceive ng documents sa kanila eh. Ano, pipigilan niyo ako na kunin to, tagal-tagal ko na kinukuha to, 2019 pa. Mr. Chairman, if I may proceed. Minutes of meeting for the election of corporate officers of NGCP. NGCP corporate policies on the functions and qualifications of officers and audit committee, compensation committee, and nomination and election committee. Number 10. Authorization from the Department of Justice for the employment of technical personnel. List of names of nationality and all of managerial employees of NGCP, including the respective job descriptions and years of employment. Number 12. Complete organizational chart of NGCP. Number 13. Tripartite agreement of Transco, NGCP, DICT in relation to the National Broadband Plan. Broadband Plan and lease agreement between NGCP and DICT in relation to the National Fiber Backbone. Now, Mr. Chairman, I will proceed. Mr. Chairman, ang tanong ko lamang po sa ERC, yung po bang last rate reset natin, 13 taon na po tayong walang rate eh. Di ba? At lagi kapag sinasabi natin rate reset, lagi na lang sinasabi natin na ang sinasabi ng NGCP kasi ang ERC hindi sila nag-reset eh. It's always like that eh. Lagi ang sinisisi ng NGCP ay kayo. Bakit? Can you kindly tell us, bakit umabot ng 13 taon? Samantalang sinasabi sa atin ng batas, rules ng ERC, every 5 years, di ba? Every 5 years. Oh, kailan ang last reset natin? Kailan? Ma'am?
Mr. Chair,
Isa di Malanta.
Apo. Yung last na rate reset po ay para sa third regulatory period covering 2011 to 2015. So, natapos po ito bandang 2010. Pinatupad po nila ng 2011.
So,
2016 to 2023.
Yun po yung hirap po akong makasagot, Mr. Chair. Kasi po kung maalala po ninyo, especially the Honorable Dan Fernandez, noon pong Agosto 2022, ang bandang Setyembre po, 3 weeks into the job, noon pong nag-budget hearing po, ito na po yung siningil sa amin. So, tinanong po naman kami ng diretsahan, nagkaroon ba ng reset, sumagot din naman po kami ng diretsahan na wala. Pero in a matter of weeks, sinimulan na po namin yung trabaho, kaya po November nakapaglabas po kami ng rules, December nakapag-file po si NGCP. So,
Yeah.
pero yung between po nun, yun po yung hirap po akong makasagot, Mr. Chair, kasi po wala po akong personal knowledge.
Yes, so tama po yung sinasabi ni NGCP na kasalanan nga ng ERC din to.
Hindi po nakapag-reset po talaga yung
Yun lang.
ERC.
Yun ang problema. Ano ang impact ng hindi kayo nakapag-reset?
Wala pong naging review nung rates ni NGCP at wala din po silang opportunity na makapag-file para sa bagong rates. So ang nangyari po, tinuloy-tuloy lang yung dating rates na naaprubahan ng ERC.
Honorable Dan
at
Fernandez.
wala pong na-assess, wala pong na-depreciate ng mga value ng kanilang mga assets. Mr. Chairman, 13 taon. At hindi ako naniniwala na ito'y kagagawan lamang ng ERC, but nevertheless, darating po tayo doon. Ngayon po, anong status ng ating pong reset? Para sa kababayan natin na nanonood at sa mga kasamahan po natin, itong pinag-uusapan po natin, ito po yung taripa. At ang pinag-uusapan po dito, okay, sinasabi yan ng NGCP at ibang members ng ating pong mga kasamahan dito that napakaliit lang ng porsyento ng transmission rate sa kabuuan na binabayad ng ating taong bayan. Pero tayo po dito ay niloloko. Ang ating pong transmission rate, tama, maliit lang, 1 peso and 19 cents per kilowatt hour. Yun po ang general na sinisingil. Pero Mr. Chairman, 13 or 10 cents lang ang difference. Malaking bagay po yan sa ating pong mga kababayan. Most especially na hindi tayo nag-compute, marami na po tayong overcollection. And this must be refunded to our Filipino people. Now, ang tanong, Mona Lisa, ano na ang status ng ating pong NGCP's rate reset?
Sa reset po ng 4th regulatory period, Mr. Chair, ito po yung tapos ng period 2016 to 2022. Patapos na po kami. Ito nga pong siguro po ngayong susunod na linggo, may meeting na po kami para final evaluation na po ito. Kasi natapos na po namin yung mga public processes. Required po kami na mag-publish, humingi ng consultation sa publiko. Natapos na po namin yon. So,
Okay.
evaluation na po.
Salamat po, ma'am. Ito po, may hawak po akong dalawang dokumento. Isang draft partial initial determination. Ito covered period of 2016 to 2020. At isang draft final determination 2016 to 2020. This was published noong September 2023 at ito naman noong August 2024. Will you confirm that you have the already signed? Lahat kayo nag-sign dito. Ikaw, Mona Lisa, si Catherine, si Commissioner Maceda, si Lumbatan, si Digal, at si Puentes. At sinasabi nyo dito sa draft partial initial determination from 2016 to 2020 was published on September 2023. Am I correct?
Tama po yan, Mr.
At ito naman published August 2024. Draft
Tama po.
final determination. I
Tama
just
po.
wanted to confirm kasi pupunta ako sa dalawang desisyon na to. Hindi naman desisyon sapagkat wala pa naman kayong final, di ba? And I just wanted to be cleared kasi medyo ako confused ako sa mga desisyon dito na sa mga value ng ating assets that was agreed upon by ARC. And the power of this committee is the oversight power to check na yung pong sinasabi ng EPIRA that the rate base, no, Mr. Chairman, kailangan po nakabase doon po sa tinatawag po nating methodology na ginamit po nila. Now, ang tanong ko po, dito ba sa dokumento na ito, na covered by this document, are you saying na 2016 lang to 2020 itong partial initial determination?
Tama po.
Tama. At ito naman, 21 to 22?
Hindi po, buo na po.
Buo na.
2016 to 2022.
So, imbis na 5 taon tayo ngayon, 7 taon na yung ating pong 4th regulatory period.
Tama po.
Am I correct? Okay. So, sinabi ninyo doon sa draft final determination which covers the 2016 to 2022, sabi mo, na-post to noong August 24 at na-post din to nung September. Dito sa discussion to, napasama yung commission and completed projects should be allowed to be recovered by NGCP. At dito sa decision nyo at dito sa draft ninyo, nakalagay din yung spend. Am I correct? Tama po ba yung sabihin na nakalagay pareho dito yung commission and useful ng mga projects?
Mr. Chairman, point of order. We cannot be discussing non-final decisions and merely temporary drafts. Otherwise will be intruding into the authority of the ARC in finally determining what should be done to this particular period for reset.
Mr.
How
Chairman,
can we be discussing drafts?
Mr.
At
Chairman,
least I would just like to ask,
Mr. Chairman,
Miss Di Balanta, are you agreeing to discuss here something that you have not finally decided on?
Mr. Chairman, that's the reason why we have this.
Honorable Dan Fernandez.
That's the reason why, Mr. Chairman, that we have this oversight power to check the abuse of some agencies of our government, especially na maapektuhan yung sinacharge sa ating taong bayan. Pera ng taong bayan ito eh. Sina-charge natin eh. Yung ang sinasabi natin dito ng mga proyekto na hindi pa tapos, i-charge natin sa ating mga consumers. And yun ang pinaglalaban po natin dito. Ay, bakit po
Okay.
natin di na-allow?
Honorable Dan Fernandez still has the floor. Let us give him
Yeah,
his
but I
time.
have the
But
point of order.
We
In
take
any
note
like
of that,
judicial
Honorable.
decision, you cannot question yet if it's not yet final.
But
These are
no.
draft. The commissioners, the chairman will change this draft and they have that authority under the law.
Okay.
So how can we be discussing drafts of possible decisions?
Okay.
I would like to ask, Madam, because we have a point of order.
Mr. Chairman, I still
And a
have
point
the
of
floor.
order.
Mr. Chairman, I still have the floor.
And the point of
And
order
you have to
is
decide on the point of
precedes
order,
all
Mr.
kinds
Chairman.
of statements.
Decide on the point of order.
Yeah, the point of order is precedes all. The point is,
Mr. Chairman, have we
highlighted.
violated
The point
any
of order
rules
is number one.
with the,
Yes,
with
may
the
we
manifestation
know
of
what is
Congressman Rufus
what is
Rodriguez?
what rule has been violated, Honorable Rodriguez? Because
point of order.
you will have to understand that he's asking a question based on some research that he has made.
That's correct.
So let us give him that time
No,
because you have
because
to
a
understand
point
that
of order interrupts anybody.
I will agree, but you will have to cite also what
What
rule have
rules?
you have you violated, because you will have to understand, Honorable Rodriguez, para klaro tayo, para maging smooth naman itong procedure ho natin, itong hearing na to. Patapusin na ho natin si Dan Fernandez because there's also an accusation here na kahit di kasalanan ng ARC. So dapat, I think he's also going to go there. So I would like to hear, because in his statement, meron siyang statement kanina na meron kayong kasalanan. So I want him now to continue, and I will allow him to continue, the Honorable
With due
Rodriguez.
respect to our chair,
Okay.
our rules provide for precedence of motions. And in the proceedings of motions, the rules of Congress, it says that the point of order has precedence over all other discussions. And that is why I'm saying that I have a point of order that in this proceeding, we cannot be discussing drafts.
Mr. Chairman,
Well,
what rule was
not yet
violated?
final.
Mr. Chairman, what rule was violated? Tama
I
po
think-
yun.
Rule on the precedence
Tama po
of
yun.
motions.
2-minute
Pero
break, Mr.
ano,
Chair.
break.
Anong
Can we have a break,
anong
Mr.
rules
Chair?
ang
Okay,
na-violate
session,
natin, Mr. Chairman?
Session suspended.
Wala naman tayo
Alam po ninyo,
binabiolate sa rules eh.
pag nag-cite ho tayo ng rule, point of order, you will have to be clear what's
Well, there is a principle which we call the principle of sub judice, that anything that is the subject of a litigation cannot be discussed openly. Well, anyway, we have already submitted that with the ERC. Mr. Chairman, as a follow-up to what the Honorable Congressman Rufus Rodriguez mentioned earlier, as the regulated entity, I would like to raise concern also about the proceedings that we're having now, with all due respect, because under the IPIRA, particularly Section 38, it is clearly provided that there is hereby created an independent, and again, I'd like to repeat that, an independent energy regulatory commission, a quasi-judicial body. As of now, this is the first time that I've been hearing internal discussions of ERC from the chairman herself. I believe that these things are matters which are now being deliberated upon by the ERC. What is the objective of the hearing? Is it intended to influence the ERC? Mr. Chairman, as the regulated entity, I am very, very much alarmed. Because if that is the case, we might just as well abolish ERC. Just a point of I mean, a statement that I would like to make as the regulated entity.
Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
opinion is,
I think
Mr. Chair.
I still have time, Mr. Chairman.
The opinion is respected, but we will have to understand that this is the oversight function of the committee, considering that you are a franchisee, and ERC is even the creation of Congress. So if there's any problem with ERC, then their department should be studied also.
I understand,
So thank
Mr.
you very
Chair.
much.
Thank you.
So let's be clear. Yes, Chairman Dimolanta.
Yes, Mr. Chair, just for the record, because there were certain statements attributed as if I made them, but there were no internal discussions that I have discussed. All that I have discussed were contained in the published drafts posted by the ERC precisely for public consultation. So I just wanted to put that on record, Mr. Chair.
No, Mr.
So you're
Chairman.
saying that everything that's been discussed here has been publicly posted?
Yes,
For
Mr.
because of
Chair.
because of the consultations, public
Process,
consultations
yes.
that you have to do.
As a matter of
there's no
fact, Mr.
secret
Chairman.
as far as this, the honorable.
Mr. Chairman, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I listened to the discussions during the last hearing. There were discussions about 3-2 votes on as spent, as commission. I think I didn't find that in the.
It's published, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chairman,
That is published,
Mr. Chairman.
Attorney
For the information-
Sagayop. So
point
that
of
is also
information, Mr. Chairman.
everything that's
Thank you.
discussed here has been published, and they will attest to that. Please furnish NGCP a copy. This is still the
Thank
time.
you, thank you.
I would
I'm sorry.
suggest that the questions has to be asked by Presti De Jesus. Okay, if you have any questions, please quote it to him, and he will ask the questions. Attorney,
Thank you.
Congressman
Thank you.
Presti,
Still have time. I think I had
you still
10 more
have,
questions.
a couple of one more question. Please proceed.
I would like to know how many minutes I have.
1.5.
Oh, one and a half. So
1.5
I'm allowed
minutes.
10 more questions, Mr.
Okay.
Chair.
1.5
To
minutes.
Transco. So how many pending right-of-way? May mga cases pa kayong pending sa inyo na right-of-way?
Mr. Chair, yes, that's correct.
So,
Pero these are for the right-of-way cases being handled by Transco pertain to assets that are already operating and operating at the time that we transferred the concession to NGCP.
as far as the NGCP, yung panahon nyo, nung kayo pa nagpapatakbo ng transmission line natin, meron pa rin hanggang yun pending.
Ongoing, Mr. Chair.
So how many years is that?
Some even go beyond the existence of Transco because these are NPC-related projects.
Yeah, even though this is still a government entities, either
Yes,
Transco,
Mr. Chair.
NPC, is same banana. My
That's
question
correct.
is, how took it so, bakit masyado matagal? What took it so long na hanggang ngayon, pending pa rin? If you, being a government entity, hindi nyo nagagawa kagad in time, how much more ang private o ang concessionaire nyo, NGCP? Gobyerno na tayo kayo
Mr. Chair, at the time, these were projects of the government then, and they were building really the power or the network, the grid. This was way back 70s, 80s. Currently, I will not be able to have any say on what happened before. But it's actually when the concession was with NGCP was prepared or the bid was set out, the right-of-way portion was really left for the government to settle. So NGCP started fresh with their own projects, with their own right-of-way management, Mr. Chair.
So, how many cases pending pa ngayon?
In terms of pending cases, right now, Mr. Chair, I don't have the number, but we can submit. But if there are no claims for Transco to settle these, we are not able to do this for all the entire Philippines because these are all done projects. We need the lengthy process here is in fact the validation, whether the piece of lot is really part of a transmission project before, and also the valuation that will go into that in the settlement of that lot, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair,
Honorable President Jesus, last question.
okay, so before the last question, Mr. Chair, siguro I would like to make a manifestation here, no? So, there's a motu proprio here about NGCP, but at the end of the day, whatever the results of this motu proprio, kung di rin natin mapababa ang presyo ng kuryente, useless din po yung ginagawa natin. So, kailangan meron tayong gawin na bumaba ang presyo ng kuryente.
Okay.
Marami nanonood
Please
ngayon.
ask your question.
Yeah, before I ask the question.
You have to ask your question. It's the time
Okay.
is running.
Again, you're still relevant, Transco? kung wala na rin, you have no control over NGCP. Ano pang relevant ng Transco?
Mr. Chair, this is just, I cannot speak for, or if there's no Transco, then there will be no, say, the regular monitoring of the, say, operations of NGCP, because while you have the ERC, the regulator, they don't have the manpower or the setup to really dig deep into the operations or the goings on in NGCP, Mr. Chair. So yes, Transco is relevant, and especially in the planning aspect as well. We are, the government should have a hand in the planning aspect, whether that's transmission, generation, the whole power industry. If the planning aspect is left only to private, then the government side or the objectives of the government may not be directly met, or there may be misalignments in terms of priorities, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, so I'll go for the second round.
Thank you very much. The chair now, thank you very much, the Honorable President Jesus. We now go to the third interpreter from the 2nd District of Marikina, the Honorable Stella Kimbo.
Salamat, Mr. Chair. Magandang hapon po sa lahat. Before I begin with my questions, I'd like to remind NGCP that the reason for why you're able to operate is because of the franchise that Congress granted you in 2008. And of course, by Section 2 of RA 9511, the term is 50 years. So hanggang 2058 po yan. But it was granted to you under the condition that it will be subject to amendment, alteration, or repeal by Congress when the common good so requires. So that's the reason for why we are here today. Gusto natin tanungin kung ano po ba ang performance ng isang napaka-importante po na korporasyon dito sa ating bansa. As we know, electricity is a very big source of inflation. At ngayon po, ang inflation ang pinaka-importanting problema po sa ating ekonomiya, and therefore, I appeal to our NGCP officials, particularly Attorney Sagayo. Sana po maging cooperative lang po tayo. Mahinaon lang po. Wag naman po sana natin i-raise ang sub judice. Hindi naman po tayo korte. People center po ito, hindi po ito korte. Salamat po. So let me go to my first question, Mr. Chair. Kanina pa po, paulit-ulit sinasabi na 3% lang po ang transmission charges. Last week naman po, narinig ko, 10% ang transmission charges. Bago tayo malito, pwede ba natin linawin? Ano ba talaga? Kasi sa pagkakaalam ko, ang presyo ng electricity, at least for NCR, is about 11.42 pesos per kilowatt hour. Kanina po nakita ko ang transmission charges on the average. I saw a slide, it was 0.8 on the average. So, ano ba talaga? I saw an electric bill earlier, 4,000 pesos. Of that, merong 227 na transmission charge. So that's about 5.6%. So, ano ba talaga? Sino bang pwedeng sumagot sa akin? Pwede ba natin pasagutin si ERC Chair muna?
I think you're the right agency, being the regulator. What
So
is
don't,
the real
yes, ano ba
percentage?
talaga? What is the real score? Yung 227 of 4,000 dun sa sample bill na pinakita ninyo last week. Ano yun? Yun yung wheeling charges siguro. Tama po ba?
Kung, opo, baka po ang sinasabi po ng binabanggit po ng NGCP na 3% refers to wheeling charges only. So kabuuan po, pag po tinignan natin yung bill, yung linya na transmission charges, meron pong kasama dong ancillary services na hindi naman po, to be fair to NGCP, hindi po sa kanila napupunta. Sa Genco po yun or sa market po yun napupunta. Meron din po silang system operator charge, yun po sa kanila po napupunta. Yung wheeling po, yun po yung regular na rates na delivery rates po kasi yun. Yun po yung, pag binuo po yun, siguro po yun yung umaabot ng 10% on the average. Pero sa mismong siguro po mahirap kasi pag porsyento yung pinag-uusapan. Sa mismong customer bulletin ng NGCP ng November 2024, for example po, nakalagay po doon sa kanilang website, nakapublish naman po yung kanilang mga customer bulletin, kabuuan po na napunta sa kinolekta ng NGCP ay mga sa kabuuang 1 peso, for example, in average na po sa Pilipinas, 1.19. 0.45 po doon, 45 centavos yung wheeling charge. So, tapos po, 56 or 57 centavos yung ancillary service charge. Yun po yung dalawang malaking porsyento or bahagi ng 1.20, 1 peso and 20 centavos. Yung iba pong maliliit na SO charge na po yun, metering service charge, CCR/STC yung connection charge, and yung iba pa pong charges. Pero ang malaki pong porsyento, yung wheeling charge at yun pong ancillary service charge.
Okay, so wheeling charge plus ancillary
Ano na po yun?
is what percent?
Parang dun sa November rates po, 1 peso na po yun. Yun pa lang, 1 peso na. Sa
1 peso na.
1.20.
Okay, so tama naman, di ba, sa NCR 11.42. So, talagang nasa 10%.
Pag tinotal.
Pag tinotal natin. So, pwede natin pag-usapan ang 10%. Pag sinasabing wheeling plus ancillary.
Hindi po. Yung ancillary po kasi hindi po sa kanila po yung
So, ano yung-
Although sila po yung may obligasyon na bumili po ng ancillary. Kasi po sila nagbabalanse ng system.
Okay, so hindi pumupunta sa kanila as revenues pero dumadaan sa kamay nila.
Apa.
Okay, pero gayon pa man, from our perspective as consumers, ang transmission burden is 10%. Kaya hindi dapat natin siya baliwalain. Yun lang naman ang punto ko. Okay, ang next point ko, alam naman po natin na ang grid ay parang siyang highway. Di po ba? So ang mga problema sa kalsada, tulad ng traffic, congestion, pareho din yan. Tama po ba? Doon sa ating grid. So, kaya po tayo tila na frustrate kapag delayed ang investments. Kasi ibig sabihin nun, hindi natin nakokonekta ang mga kalsada. Ibig sabihin, yung kumbaga sa kotse, imbis na natutuloy-tuloy niya ang kanyang pagtakbo, nahihinto. Tama? O di kaya, sobrang daming kotse, kaya tuloy mabagal. Tama po. So yun dapat puntahan na power sa isang lugar. Kasi halimbawa, sa isang lugar na sobrang daming supply, na pwede sana niyang dalhin sa isang lugar na sobrang konti ang supply, ay hindi nagagawa. Tama po. Magsa-stop go, and therefore, dahil sa kakulangan ng transmission infrastructure, na apektuhan ang generation cost. Tama po. So in other words, kahit sabihin natin na, nako, mas malaki ang generation cost share, which is about 51%. Tama po ba?
On the average, yes, ma'am.
Masasabi natin na, sa totoo lang, ang dahilan kung bakit malaki yung generation cost is because kulang na kulang ang ating highway. Kulang na kulang ang ating transmission infrastructure. Is that an accurate statement, ma'am?
It's a fair statement, Mr. Chair. Also, idagdag ko lang po, hindi lang po yung cost ng generation, yung pong cost ng ancillary, tumataas din po. Kasi po, pag hindi enough yung linya, naghahanap ng pampalit, ng substitute, dun po sa kawalan ng linya.
Okay. Yan din ang aking commonsensical understanding. Pasensya na po kayo, hindi po ako engineer, ako isang ekonomista, pero ganyan ang aking pag-intindi. Na kahit sabihin mo directly, 10% lang yan, ay hindi po. Pagpalpak ang pag-invest ng NGCP, naaapektuhan po ang generation charges. Ngayon po, sino po ang may estimate na ilan porsyento doon sa 51% ay due to delays in investment in transmission infrastructure, Mr. Chair. I'm up.
I'm up. Can you answer that? I think that was part of your presentation. Can you actually answer that?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ma'am, so you're asking me parang percentage? Ganun po ba?
Yes.
Some make us understand what portion of the generation charges would be due to inefficiencies in transmission.
Okay po. Yung po kasing